Welcome everyone. Today I'm coming at you from Dayton, Ohio. It is a cold, gloomy, overcast, foggy day. But I can't think of a better day to tell you about Dayton's most haunted building, the Dayton Daily News Building that you see behind me. What first attracted me to this building was a picture I found of legendary magician and escape artist Harry Houdini dangling from the corner of this very building in a straitjacket. That picture was taken in 1916, and the building looks almost exactly the same now as it did then. Houdini was probably one of the greatest showmen the world has ever seen. He started out as your typical magician. He called himself the King of Cards. And then, when other magicians started also becoming the King of Cards, he decided to try escapes. And he became Harry Houdini, the Handcuff King. And when other magicians started doing handcuff escapes, Harry Houdini came across a straitjacket. And he started doing straitjacket escapes. And in 1915, he came across the idea of escaping from straitjackets while dangling from buildings by his ankles. And in this picture taken in 1916, you can see very little has changed from this corner, 4th and Ludlow, in Dayton, Ohio. This building is the building that housed the Dayton Daily News. Being the showman that he was, Houdini knew that if he could get the newspaper involved in his stunts, he was sure to get coverage. So that's why he decided to dangle from the corner of the building that was the actual office of the Dayton Daily News. This building was originally built between 1908 and 1910. And as you can see, it is almost identical to what it looked like over 100 years ago, right down to these street lights. A lot of the 1910 structure remains, but as you can see, the rest of the building is decrepit and in disrepair. Still retains some of the beautiful architecture, but it certainly hasn't been well maintained. And we know this building began construction in 1908, but I don't really know what the 1808 signifies in this cornerstone. So what about the hauntings? Is the Dayton Daily News building haunted by the ghost of Harry Houdini? No, it's much more interesting and intriguing than that. This building is said to be haunted by none other than James Cox. A lady just stopped me and she asked if this building was open. She wanted to get inside. She said it should be a museum, and I agree with it. So who is James Cox? Governor Cox was twice elected governor in the state of Ohio. He also represented Ohio in the U.S. Congress. He was also the Democratic nominee for president in 1920, and he's said to haunt this very building. And one night, a janitor was cleaning up and he saw someone sitting at Governor Cox's desk. Now, why would Governor Cox have an office in this building? Because he was also president of the Cox media empire, and he owned the Dayton Daily News. And one night, a janitor saw him sitting at his desk. The man was wearing a smoking jacket. Can you imagine a ghost wearing a smoking jacket? And he identified himself as Governor Cox, and he asked to be left alone. I think if I saw the ghost of a dead governor, I would be more than happy to leave him alone. But it doesn't end there. There is an intriguing story of murder associated with this building. Judy Sinks disappeared in 1989. At one point, some of her personal belongings showed up in a mailbox. But beyond that, police had nothing to go on other than a suspicion of foul play. It was later discovered that Ted Sinks had killed his wife Judy. He placed her body in a barrel that he had brought home from this newspaper building. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, Ted asked for help from a fellow employee at the newspaper building to give him a hand with the barrel. He said it contained asbestos from a remodeling project, and he asked that it be taken to this newspaper office. At that time, a water purification system was being installed, and Ted Sinks buried his wife in concrete in the system's foundation. Ted Sinks was in charge of the cooling and air conditioning in the building, and he and only one other employee had a key that had access to that area. And his scheme may have worked too, except the employee, remembering the incident and thinking it was odd, reported it to police. Police, armed with sledgehammers and pickaxes, busted open the concrete foundation and found the body of Judy Sinks. Ted Sinks was convicted of murder, and after several attempts at parole, he died in prison. And being not only the couple's place of employment, but almost Judy's final resting place, is it any wonder that rumors of haunting persist? It's been said that Judy's ghost has caused so many issues, from creepy sounds to random opening and closing of the elevator door, that newspaper employees moved from the 4th floor of the building. The newspaper has since moved to newer accommodations, but the spirit of Judy, I don't know. Perhaps it still resides in the building behind me. I noticed that one of these windows is open just a little bit. I've heard it said that if you crack a window, it allows the troubled spirits to escape. But it's amazing how similar this building looks to how it looked in 1916 when Harry Houdini gathered this crowd. I hope you enjoyed our story of Harry Houdini, the unfortunate demise of Judy Sinks, and one of the most haunted buildings in Dayton, Ohio. As always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And click that bell icon so you'll be notified when I post new videos. From one of Dayton, Ohio's most haunted buildings, I'm Mark from the Average Me channel. And here's the current home of the Dayton Daily News. And as you can see, still part of the Cox Media Group. And let's take a wet, soggy, and miserable walk in the slush around this beautiful, historic building.
Well, you made it to the end, and you found the secret message. Alright, it's not really secret. I just want you to like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell icon so you know when we post new videos. I salute you.